Hi. It actually comes up a lot when people ask, like, oh, you're a gamer? Like, you like games? Like, yeah, I love games. Oh, what games do you play? I don't. I never get to fucking play games. So, my current project is this. So, all of this crap on the side here are the separate files that go into making a video game, and then inside the actual engine itself, uh, yeah, it takes a shit ton of code to do fucking anything, and I don't know. I'll keep it simple for the first part, and then if people want to like learn more, then we'll go from there. So all this is, right? This is multiplayer, which is part of why it's so complicated, is doing multiplayer stuff. But all this is like very basic options screen that doesn't even do anything. None of this is configured to do anything. I just have it set up to where it actually like saves the options, so you can see when things like change, and then you can go back in and you don't have to redo your options every time. That takes I don't know, 5 pages of coding. So we have like the settings panel itself is code, and this talks about like all of the elements that are inside that settings panel. So like the master volume slider and the resolution combo and all that kind of stuff. And then you also have to create save slots for save games so they can actually write to, a hard drive and actually be saved. And oh, that one's UI. That's for other stuff. So this one would be the settings save game. So it takes all of these things and creates a save game. And then you also have to have code that tracks how save games and everything works. So we have this persistent subsystem. So all these .h files or header files that are just a bunch of definitions that are like, this is what this is. So you're like, okay, the slot name is, this, which a string is just a word. GUID is like globally unique identifier. Name, date, float is a number, Boolean is like true, false. So this just says like what something is, or like how a function is supposed to be, declared in there. And then the actual code for all of this is all of this. And this isn't just for settings. This is for a few different parts of the game. But you kind of get the idea that even just to save settings, save listing, I'm going to scroll to settings, but there's just so fucking much. Yeah, anyway. So just to save headings, or save settings, without the settings even doing anything, requires like a header file and a C++ file for a persistent subsystem, which tracks like how that's actually written to disk and everything. And then you need a header file and a C++ file for the UI, is user interface. So for the user interface itself, because you have to show how that's going to work. And then you have to have another file for the settings save game. And this one you don't really need the C++ part, you just need the header file, because like a save game is just this is that. So you're just saving like this to that. You don't really need a whole lot of programming for that part. So it's like, 5 different files just for that screen and to save settings. And that's inside the C++ itself. So when you interface all of that with the game engine itself, then you also have to create these different assets for things. So like we have, yeah, that's part of like the loading screen. And then you have to create these blueprints. So like this focus panel is where the settings load into. So you have to create the actual layout on a screen of how those settings are going to be displayed. So when you hit options for those settings, it pops up into this panel. So you need this to say, okay, I have a button that is going to load that in. And then you need the separate, is it in here? Save slot. Okay, and this is the settings panel. So then you need a separate file that shows the layout of how those things interface. So like this master volume slider corresponds up here to like this is a volume, or this is a variable, and this refers back to the C++ that says in here, like if you change the master volume, then you set it. So that's how it works with the code. So master volume slider corresponds to master volume slider. So then you can actually interact with things on like a visual level instead of having to like hard code something every time you want to do anything in the game. So yeah, all of this code, which what I'm probably up to, will it tell me how many things I'm selecting? Yeah, it doesn't see how many objects, but 50 files, and a lot of them are several pages of code. And right now, all the game does is you can create a new game, and then I have this set up to where there's like 3 characters basically that you can do different things with, and these green lines are trace interactions. So if you're interacting with something that's like, okay, what am I pointing at? That's what I'm currently working on. So we have the 3 different characters, and all I can do so far with all of that code is save a game that tracks where those positions are. So it's hilarious when people are like, oh yeah, video games, I want to make a video game. You sure about that? Like, oh, it's Unreal Engine, you just drag and drop shit in. It's like, well, yeah, you can just like drag and drop shit into a level, but that doesn't mean like that it's going to do anything, right? Like this is the test item that I'm messing with for different things. Like, yeah, you can build cool stuff, but you know, actually doesn't do anything. Like until you have all of that coded to do something, then there's nothing. There's no game. It's like you just have stuff in a level, and it's like even the movement and everything has to be coded. Like telling it, oh, if you press the W key, you go forward, and if you move the mouse, that's what moves the camera inside the screen there, and setting up like, okay, you know, if you're looking at something in the middle of the screen, that's, you know, what you're trying to interact with. There's a lot to it, but it's also kind of the parts of video games that I actually enjoy, is like the problem solving and building worlds and stuff like that. So like I like playing open world sandbox survival type games where you get to do base building and stuff like that and solve problems. So like it's still satisfying to me to build the game, but when people are like, oh, you're a gamer? I'm like, yeah. Sorta.